Hi, welcome to my channel. My name is Michał and this is another video from the world of Formula 1. It's a race week. This time Formula 1 will visit Japan and it is the first of 3 consecutive weekends with a race. So for this video I thought I'll put together and discuss a couple of stories that came around in between the races. And the first of them is about the famous team from Maranello in Italy. After the disqualification drama, Ferrari announced that they will bring a new floor to the Japanese Grand Prix. What was seen on Lewis Hamilton's car during the Chinese Grand Prix demonstrated that the car was running too low, which caused the plank damage and ultimately caused the disqualification and loss of all points for Lewis Hamilton, and Charles Leclerc was disqualified because of the weight limit. But maybe if he was the correct weight, his car might have had the same issues. Hopefully they fix it for this upcoming races. And if you haven't heard, there was this announcement from Williams to disprove any speculations about Carlos Sainz's car. So after his slower pace, there were rumors coming around that his car was the old one and Alex Albon was racing the more developed new one. Team principal James Vowles took to their video debrief to say that both cars are supposedly the same and they are evolution of the last year's car with improvements to increase the pace, which are basically the same for both cars. According to James Vowles, this car is the evolution of the previous one because they wanted to allocate more time and money towards the 2026 season. And with new season will come new regulations, also new engines, so there's no wonder there. I'm actually looking forward to see how the order in the leaderboards will change. However, this season turned out quite well for Williams, at least so far, as the 2025 car is able to score points quite consistently, and both drivers scored the points. However, Carlos Sainz was obviously quite lucky with 3 disqualifications, which promoted him to the 10th place after the Chinese Grand Prix. And the next story is about the car liveries. The announcement was done by Haas, which presented quite cool cherry blossoms on the white spots of their cars, which are now pinkish. Red Bull Racing presented a rendition of the white livery for the Japanese Grand Prix as well, which is a homage to their engine supplier Honda and celebrates their 1965 car that secured their first Formula 1 victory. At least to me, this one looks superior to their usual colors. It will be especially beneficial to their brand after what happened last week. Because of course, in the break between the races, there was this big reshuffling in their drivers lineup. After just 2 races, Liam Lawson was demoted to Racing Bulls and Yuki Tsunoda was promoted to Red Bull Racing. It was obviously a harsh change and there was a lot of chatter around this decision. Critics were mentioning that 2 races are too short for Liam Lawson to show how fast he actually is, and the Japanese Grand Prix circuit Suzuka was a racetrack that he actually knows from the Super Formula, and there was a great chance that he would perform much better there. However, the higher-ups in Red Bull didn't want to wait, so they made a swap. It probably also helped that Yuki Tsunoda is Japanese, so that might please the crowd. My speculation is also that this is the last time that Yuki Tsunoda would have slightly more time in between races in a while, because now there won't be any breaks between 3 races. So if Liam Lawson was performing as bad as in 2 previous races, Red Bull might have been in a very difficult situation. On a bright side for Liam Lawson, he now has potentially a whole season to prove that he actually is there to race and win and score points. And with potentially easier to drive car, he now just needs to outscore his rookie teammate. Even though Liam Lawson can be still considered a rookie, he has quite a few more races in Formula 1 behind his belt than Isaac Hadjar, so there's a chance he will be able to preserve his Formula 1 career. which was also given as a reason towards the swap by Helmut Marko, which is responsible for the young drivers in the Red Bull organization. However, that swap made some bad press for Red Bull, and they had to switch their stances towards certain driver in form of Yuki Tsunoda. Some were joking that it might be very hard to say nice things about him after what was said before. He obviously had some inconsistencies in the previous seasons, and probably that was the main reason why they decided to put Liam Lawson in that second seat in the first place. However, they had to go back on that decision. But the rumors were quite crazy. If you haven't seen them, they of course mentioned Helmut Marko trying to bring Franco Colapinto to Red Bull from the Alpine. He's a reserve driver there. He was seen there, and apparently they did not allow for that. His situation there is probably a story for another video, but there's a high chance he might be racing for Alpine even this season, as the rumor has it that Jack Doohan has only 5 races to save his Formula 1 career. But the rumors around Red Bull do not end on Franco Colapinto. Some people were saying that they even tried to bring Alex Albon back, and obviously he did not agree or was not allowed to. He's a #1 driver at Williams and scores points quite regularly, so no surprise there. Especially that without Max Verstappen, so far Red Bull Racing is the 10th fastest car this season. But after Yuki Tsunoda was confirmed, Helmut Marko announced that he will race for them for the remainder of the season. But who knows, if he doesn't perform, anything can happen. But the overall situation in that team doesn't seem to be that great, and there's of course now the speculation on how long Max Verstappen will stay with them. Potentially the next season should be quite sure that he'll stay, because then he'll know how the situation with engines is shaping to be, because of course the new engines will come next year. But let's see how it goes this season and if they are able to improve. I'm quite interested in how Yuki Tsunoda will perform, because so far he was on top of his game. He's in his 5th season, and if not for terrible strategy at Racing Bulls, he would definitely score some solid points. He's claiming that he's ready and is eyeing the podium on his first race. But he was deprived of the preseason time prep and obviously the time during the sessions that could help him get to know the car better, which is supposedly very hard to drive, as Liam Lawson demonstrated. But definitely he will be challenged, and if he scores points, that's awesome for him as it is his home race. If not, he can say that the car is not drivable, as for Sergio Perez and Liam Lawson. Because of the struggles of the Kiwi, Sergio Perez is looked at in much different light, and according to the media, he's now in the game for the Cadillac seat next season. Obviously, Cadillac is joining as a new team from 2026 with engines from Ferrari and potentially planning to develop their own ones with General Motors, but they haven't announced their driver lineup so far, and of course Perez is on top of their list, and there are a couple more drivers such as Valtteri Bottas or Zhou Guanyu in the consideration, but the final lineup will hopefully be announced sooner than later. I'm actually quite curious about it, who will race for them, and of course that's probably going to be very challenging. So let me know in the comments, who do you think will drive for them? So hopefully you will like this format that gathers few stories for the upcoming race. Let me know what you think in the comments, and if you liked this video, please subscribe. Thank you very much for watching, that was fast, and see you in the next one.